It happened when I was 11. I was a bit of a problem child then and had a habit of staying up at night. One night I was sitting in my room. My room is located so that if you open the door to my room, you can see a long corridor in our house directly from it. This corridor is so long that no light enters it at night. And so I'm sitting in my room and drawing something in the album. At some point I turn to the door and see something standing in the corridor, similar in height to a child of 8 to 9 years old, and this something was on this long red bag. At first I did not understand what I had just seen. I began to blink, rub my eyes, do everything to unsee it, but it didn't go away. And then the thought, what if it doesn't seem to you at all, flashed through my head. I had no idea what to do. I just turned to the table and tried not to think that this something was actually right outside my door. I did not hear any strange sounds, only the sound of my heartbeat. At some point I heard steps somewhere far away in the corridor. I did not dare to turn around. It turned out that my mother woke up. She came to my room and scolded me for not sleeping. I have never seen anything like it. I still don't know what it was.
I still remember that night. It was winter, and I was working as a hospital cleaner. The building was old, with long, dark hallways where the lights flickered like candles. The night shift was always the worst. Quiet, but not peaceful. It felt like the walls were watching. One ward in that hospital was always locked, Wardroom 6. Doctors never sent patients there. Nurses avoided it. Even the security guard told me, "Don't stay near that room for long." I asked why. He only whispered, "Someone died there screaming, but the body was never found." Strange sounds. That night, while mopping the floor near room 6, I heard something. At first it was like a knock. Tap, tap, tap. Then it turned into a low whisper, a woman's voice. "Help me." I froze. The door was locked with chains, but I could hear someone moving inside. I thought maybe a patient was trapped. I went closer, pressing my ear to the door. Suddenly, bang! Something slammed from the other side so hard that the chains rattled. I dropped my mop. The shadow. When I looked down, I saw water spreading on the floor. But it wasn't water. It was blood, seeping slowly from under the door. Thick, dark, smelling of rust. I stumbled back, heart racing. The hallway was empty, but I felt someone standing behind me. I turned my head, and there she was. A woman in a hospital gown, skin pale as paper, hair covering her face. Her mouth opened unnaturally wide, and she screamed, but no sound came out. Only silence. Silent, but deafening. The ending. I blinked once, and she was gone. But the door of room 6 was open now, wide, waiting. Inside, only darkness, a bed with broken straps, and written on the wall in red, "Now you are part of this room." The next morning, when people came for duty, they didn't find me near room 6. They found my mop, broken and bloody. And since that night, workers say, sometimes when they pass by room 6, they hear a man's voice whisper, "Help me."
It was past midnight when I boarded the train. The station was almost empty. Cold wind moved through the broken speakers, making a ghostly hum. I was tired, carrying only my bag, and I just wanted to sleep until the train reached the last stop. But from the beginning, something felt wrong. Empty train. When I entered the compartment, all the seats were empty. No passengers, no conductor, only dim yellow lights flickering above, and the sound of the train moving. I sat down near the window. For a while, everything was silent. Then, I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy steps moving through the aisle. I turned my head, but nobody was there. The woman. A few minutes later, I saw her, a woman in a black dress, sitting 3 rows ahead of me. I was sure the train had been empty before. She didn't move, didn't look at me. Her head was bent low, her hair falling forward. At first, I thought she was sleeping, but then I realized her head was bent too far, almost broken. Suddenly, she stood up. The train shook as if it hit something, lights flickering. When the light came back, she was gone. The warning. The train slowed down and stopped in the middle of nowhere. No station, no people, only trees outside. The announcement system cracked alive, but instead of the usual station name, a distorted voice whispered, "Get off, or you will never leave." My whole body froze. I didn't move. 8th doors opened, cold air rushing inside. Then I saw something outside, hundreds of pale faces staring from the darkness, watching, waiting.
This story happened to my uncle in the late 1990s, and even though I wasn't there, I've heard it so many times that I can still feel the chill in my bones when I repeat it. My uncle worked as a long-distance truck driver. One night he was driving along a lonely stretch of highway between 2 small towns in Pakistan. It was past 2 a.m. and the road was completely empty, only the sound of his engine breaking the silence. As he drove past a small graveyard by the roadside, his headlights caught sight of a young woman standing alone, dressed in a white shalwar kameez. She raised her hand, signaling for him to stop. At first, he thought it was a stranded passenger. Against his better judgment, he slowed down and pulled over. The woman stepped into the truck without saying a word. She sat silently in the passenger seat, her face turned toward the window. My uncle tried to make small talk. "Where are you going?" she whispered softly, almost too quiet to hear. "Just ahead, to my home." Something about her voice made him uneasy. It sounded empty, hollow, like it was coming from far away. They drove for about 15 minutes. The woman never turned her face fully toward him. She just kept staring into the darkness outside. Suddenly, she pointed to a small dirt road and said, "Here, stop here." The place looked abandoned. It led only to a few broken houses that had been in ruins for decades. My uncle hesitated. "Are you sure this is your home?" he asked. That's when she finally turned her head. Her eyes were completely black, her mouth stretched into an unnatural grin, and in a voice that wasn't human, she hissed, "I already am home." Before my uncle could react, she vanished, disappearing into thin air right in the passenger seat. The truck swerved violently, and he barely managed to stop it before crashing into a ditch. Shaking and terrified, he jumped out of the truck. The dirt road was empty, no sign of her. But then he noticed something on the passenger seat, a patch of wet mud, shaped exactly like a bare footprint. Later, when he shared this story with the locals at a nearby tea stall, they went quiet. One old man finally said, "You saw her, the girl who died in a car accident near the graveyard years ago. Drivers still pick her up, but none of them ever forget what happens next." My uncle never drove that route again, and even today, when he tells the story, his hands tremble as if he's back in that truck with that thing sitting beside him.